Good evening. It is April 26th. Tonight we are going to be reading from Judges 6 1 through 40, Luke 22:54 through 23:12, Psalms 95 1 through 96:13, and Proverbs 14:5 and 6. Like we try to do every single evening, let's do the Lord's Prayer. Join in with me if you don't mind. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So tonight we are in Judges 6 1 through 40. Yet again, the people of Israel went back to doing evil in God's sight. God put them under the domination of Midian for 7 years. Midian overpowered Israel because of Midian, the people of Israel made for themselves hideouts in the mountains, caves, and forts. When Israel planted its crops, Midian and Amalek, the Easterners, would invade them, camp in their fields, and destroy their crops all the way down to Gaza. They left nothing for them to live on, neither sheep, nor ox, nor donkey. Bringing their cattle and tents, they came in and took over, like an invasion of locusts, and their camels, past counting. They marched in and devastated the country. The people of Israel, reduced to grinding poverty by Midian, cried out to God for help. One time, when the people of Israel had cried out to God because of Midian, God sent them a prophet with this message. God, the God of Israel, says, I delivered you from Egypt. I freed you from the life of slavery. I rescued you from Egypt's brutality, and then from every oppressor. I pushed them out of your way and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am God your God. Don't for a minute be afraid of the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But you don't listen to me. One day the angel of God came and sat down under the oak in Ophrah that belonged to Joash, the Abizerite, whose son Gideon was threshing wheat in the winepress, out of sight of Midianites. The angel of God appeared to him and said, God is with you, O mighty warrior. Gideon replied, with me, my master, if God is with us, why has all this happened to us? Why are all the miracle wonders our parents and grandparents told us about telling us, didn't God deliver us from Egypt? The fact is, God has nothing to do with us. He has turned us over to the Midian. But God faced him directly. Go in, this strength is yours. Save Israel from Midian. Haven't I just sent you? Gideon said to him, me, my master, how and with what could I ever save Israel? Look at me. My clan's the weakest in Manasseh. I'm the runt of the litter. God said to him, I'll be with you. Believe me, you'll defeat Midian as one man. Gideon said, if you're serious about this, do me a favor. Give me a sign to back up what you're telling me. Don't leave me until I come back. Don't leave until I come back and bring you my gift. He said, I'll wait till you get back. Gideon went and prepared a young goat and a huge amount of unraised bread. He used over half a bushel of flour. He put the meat in the basket and the broth in the pot and took them back under the shade of the oak tree for a sacred meal. The angel of God said to him, take the meat and unraised bread, place them on that rock, and pour the broth on them. Gideon did it. The angel of God stretched out the tip of the stick he was holding and touched it to the meat and the bread. Fire broke out of the rock and burned up the meat and bread while the angel of God slipped away out of sight. And Gideon knew it was the angel of God. Gideon said, oh no, Master God, I have seen the angel of God face to face. But God reassured him, easy now, don't panic, you won't die. Then Gideon built an altar there to God and named it God's Peace. It's still called that at Ophrah of Abizer. That night this happened. The night this happened, God said to him, take your father's best 7-year-old bull, the prime one, tear down your father's Baal altar and chop down the Asher's fertility pole beside it. Then build an altar to God, your God, on the top of this hill. Take the prime bull and present it as a whole burnt offering using firewood from the Asherah pole that you cut down. Asherah pole. Gideon selected 10 men from his servants and did exactly what God had told him. But because of his family and the people of the neighborhood, he was afraid to do it openly, so he did it at night. Early in the morning, the people of the town were shocked to find Baal's altar torn down, Asherah's pole beside it chopped down, and the prime bull burning away on the altar that he had built. They kept asking, "Who did this?" Questions and more questions. And then the answer: of Gideon's son of Joash did it. The men of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son, he must die." Why? He tore down the Baal altar and chopped down the Asherah tree. But Joash stood up to the crowd, pressing in on him. "Are you going to fight Baal's battles for him? Are you going to save him? Anyone out Anyone who takes Baal's side will be dead by morning. If Baal is a god, in fact, let him fight his own battles and defend his own altar." They nicknamed Gideon that day Jerub Baal, because after he had torn down Baal's altar, he said, "Let Baal fight his own battles." All the Midianites and the Amalekites, the Easterners, got together, crossed the river, and made camp in the valley of Jezreel. That's a mouthful. God's Spirit came over Gideon. He blew his ram's trumpet, and the Abizarites came out, ready to follow him. He dispatched messengers all through Manasseh, calling them to battle. Also to Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, they all came. Gideon, Gideon said to God, "If this is right, if you are using me to save Israel, as you said, then look, I'm placing a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If dew is on the fleece only, if dew is on the fleece only, but the floor is dry, then I know that you will use me to save Israel, as you said." That's what happened. When he got up early the next morning, he wrung out the fleece, enough dew to fill a bowl with water. Then Gideon said to God, "Don't be impatient with me, but let me say one more thing. I want to try another time with this fleece, but this time let the fleece stay dry while the dew drenches the ground." God made it happen that very night. Only the fleece was dry, while the ground was wet with dew. It's crazy how we test God, or how Gideon tested God, and God made it happen. How many times have you said, "God, show me a sign," and something's weird has happened like that? That's just crazy. And yet Israel still doesn't want to follow Jesus, or doesn't want to follow God, excuse me, at the time, not Jesus. Judges 6, 1 through 40, the breakdown says Gideon's called. Israel is getting crushed by Midian because they turned from God again. Enter Gideon, hiding in fear, and God calls him a mighty warrior. That's the lesson. God sees who you can be, not who you are right now. Gideon doubts hard, asks for multiple signs, the fleece test. God answers anyway. The translation says God will meet you in your insecurity, but he's calling you to step up, not stay small. That's big. Luke 22:54 through 23:12. Arresting Jesus, they marched him off and took him into the house of the chief priest. Peter followed, but a safe distance. In the middle of the courtyard, some people had started a fire and were sitting around it trying to keep warm. One of the serving maids sitting at the fire noticed him, then took a second look at him. This man was with him. He denied it. "Woman, I don't even know him." A short time later, someone else noticed him and said, "You're one of them." But Peter denied it. "Ma'am, I am not." About an hour later, someone else spoke up, really adamant. "He's got to have been with them. He's got Galilean written all over him." Peter said, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about." Okay. I like how they paraphrase the Bible. At this very moment, the last word hardly off his lips, a rooster crowed. Just then the master turned and looked at Peter. Peter remembered what the master had said to him. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. He went out and cried and cried and cried. The men in charge of Jesus began poking fun at him, slapping him around. They put a blindfold on him and taunted, "Who hit you that time?" They were having a grand time with him. When it was morning, the religious leaders of the people and the high priests and scholars all got together and brought him before the high council. They said, "Are you the Messiah?" He answered, "If I said yes, you wouldn't believe me. And if I asked what you meant by the question, you wouldn't answer me. So here's what I have to say. From here on, the Son of Man takes his place at God's right hand, the place of power." They all said, "So you admit your claim to be the Son of God. You're the one who keeps saying it," he said. But they had made up their minds. "Why do we need more evidence? We've all heard him as good as say it himself." Then they all took Jesus to Pilate and began to bring up charges against him. They said, "We found this man undermining our law and order, forbidding taxes to be paid to Caesar, setting up himself as a Messiah king." Pilate asked him, "Is this true, that you're the king of the Jews?" These are your words, not mine, Jesus replied. Pilate told the high priests and the accompanying crowd, I find nothing wrong here. He seems harmless enough to me, but they were very vehement. Vehement. I don't use that word very often. He's stirring up unrest among the people with his teaching, disturbing the peace everywhere, starting in Galilee and now all through Judea. He's a dangerous man, endangering the peace. When Pilate heard that, he said, so he's a Galilean. Realizing that he properly came under Herod's jurisdiction, he passed the buck to Herod, who just happened to be in Jerusalem for a few days. Herod was delighted when Jesus showed up. He wanted for a long time to see him. He'd heard so much about him. He hoped to see him do something spectacular. He peppered him with questions. Jesus didn't answer, not one word. But the high priest and religious scholars were right there saying their piece, strident and shrill in their accusations. Mightily offended, Herod turned on Jesus. His soldiers joined in, taunting and jeering. Then he dressed him up in an elaborate king costume and sent him back to Pilate. That day, Herod and Pilate became thick as thieves, always before they had kept their distance. So the breakdown of Luke 22:54 through 23:12, Peter's denial and Jesus on trial. Peter folds under pressure and denies Jesus 3 times, just like Jesus said. Meanwhile, Jesus is falsely accused, mocked. He sent between leaders like a pawn. Total injustice, total composure. The key contrast, Peter reacts in fear. Jesus stands in purpose. The translation says, pressure reveals your foundation. Fear makes you deny. Purpose makes you stand. Psalms 95:1 through 96:13. Come, let's shout praises to God. Raise the roof for the rock who saved us. Let's march into his presence singing praises, lifting the rafters from our hymns, with our hymns. And why? Because God is the best, high king over all the gods. In one hand, and he holds deep caves and caverns. In the other hand, grasps the high mountains. He made ocean, he owns it. His hand sculpted the earth. So come, let us worship, bow before him, on your knees before God who made us. Oh yes, he's our God, and we're the people he pastures, the flock he feeds. Drop everything and listen as he speaks. Don't turn a deaf ear as in the bitter uprising, as on the day of the wilderness test, when your ancestors turned and put me to the test. For 40 years they watched me at work among them, as over and over they tried my patience, and I was provoked. Oh, was I provoked? Can't they keep their minds on God for 5 minutes? Do they simply refuse to walk down my road? Exasperated, I exploded. They'll never get where they're headed, never be able to sit down and rest. Sing God a brand new song. Earth and everyone in it sing. Sing to God, worship God. Shout the news of his victory from sea to sea, taking the news of his glory to the lost, news of his wonders to one and all. For God is great and worth 1,000 hallelujahs. His furious beauty puts the other gods to shame. Pagan gods are merely tatters and rags. God made the heavens. Royal splendor radiates from him. A powerful beauty sets him apart. Bravo, God, bravo. Everyone join in the great shout, encore. In awe before the beauty, in awe before the might. Bring gifts and celebrate. Bow before the beauty of God. Then to your knees, everyone worship. Get out the message, God rules. He put the world on a firm foundation. He treats everyone fair and square. Let's hear it from sky, with earth joining in, a huge round of applause from sea. The wilderness turn cartwheels. Animals come dance. Put every tree of the forest in the choir. An extravaganza before God as he comes. As he comes to set everything right on earth, set everything right, treat everyone fair. The breakdown of Psalms 95:1 through 96:13. Worship warning. Starts with celebration, sing, rejoice, recognize God as King. Then a hard pivot. Don't harden your hearts. Worship isn't just singing, it's obedience. That should sting a little bit. Worship isn't just singing, it's obedience. Psalms 96 expands. It declares God's glory everywhere. The translation says, praise God with your mouth, but back it with your life. That's a self-check in it. Proverbs 14:5 and 6. A true witness never lies. A false witness makes a business of it. Cynics look high and low for wisdom and never find it. The open-minded find it right on their doorstep. Proverbs 14:5 and 6, the breakdown says truth versus foolishness. A truthful person is reliable, no lies, no confusion. A fool looks for wisdom but can't find it because they're not actually willing to live it. The translation is wisdom isn't hidden, you just won't see it if you're playing games. I think one of the things I always say is I'm never going to lie to you because then I have to remember what I lied about. Not worth it. Bottom line says God calls you higher even when you feel unqualified. Pressure will expose who you really are. Ouch. Worship equals obedience, not just words, and wisdom requires honesty and humility. That's good. So if no one told you today, I love you. And I do Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives. So I'm starting a 6 series talk. And tomorrow night will be on wisdom. So we're going to talk about wisdom, vision, the right people, strategy, discipline, and courage. So over the next 6 weeks, that's what we're going to be talking about on the Monday Night Lives, Motivational Mondays. So I appreciate you. I love you. Subscribe, share, tell your friends. We're reading the Bible in a year. We're reading Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. We are going to make it. We're almost finished with April. We're about a third of the way through the year. January, February, March, April. Yeah, a third of the way through the year. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. We will see you tomorrow. It's April 27th. Thank you.